So one of the biggest things that is probably going to cripple your business is not poor planning or, the algorithm is working against you, but it's probably yourself. It's that limiting belief that you have against yourself, and also that imposter syndrome that you keep telling yourself. And the reason that I say this is because when I onboard any client, we go through a quite deep analysis point. And a lot of people don't get it, and they don't understand why I'm asking them to do this. But what essentially I would like to find out at the very beginning of working together is, where do you think you are right now? Where do you want to go? And what do you think is the biggest thing that is stopping you from doing that right now? So essentially, people call it a bottleneck. And by figuring this out, so I find out about them, their past, their background, their experience, what makes them a unique selling point, so a USP in the space, what is the program, service, product that they are selling, why are they selling it, at what price points, to what market, all this sort of stuff. It is quite in-depth, and a lot of times people get over the documents and they're just kind of like, oh my God, what is she asking? But 3 months down the line, you'll love it when I'm going back and I'm referring back to that exact document to be able to help you implement new systems, new processes, maybe a launch inside of your business to be able to help it scale. A lot of the time then people start to see them in a much more positive manner. But going back to, so that's finding out where you are right now and where you want to go. That's kind of those two questions answered. The most interesting part of the onboarding process is, what do they think the biggest bottleneck is? Because sometimes it's very simple stuff. Sometimes it's a lack of understanding, or they're fully aware that they don't have the right systems in place, so their time is really condensed and they need to be able to find a way forward with that. Now, the one that shocks me the most, that has come up a few times, is the fact that they don't believe in themselves to do it. Now, why this is quite damaging for your business is that if anyone on this goddamn planet is going to shout about your business more, it should be you. It really should. You should not be waiting for external validation to validate the reason that you're doing this business. I don't care what testimonials you have. I don't care what social proof you have. If you do not think that you are the shit, do not expect everyone else to think that at the same time. Okay? That's me being quite blunt, Emily, right there, because it's the most frustrating thing that I hear far too much in the space, but it's also, at the same time, I personally think, the easiest one to change. Because if you do not have the finances, or you do not have the time because of other responsibilities, that is something that I may not be able to control, and I may not be able to manipulate to bring it into your favor, to be able to put you in a position that would favor your business more. Sometimes it's just hard work, grit, and determination that you just need to put in to scale your business. When you say it is you, when you openly admit that you think that you are the problem within your business, that is to do with the thing between your ears, which we all know how much I like to talk about, how damaging our brains can be to ourselves if we're not fully aware of them. Simple psychology and human nature is survival. And I'm not going to say unfortunately, because I don't think anyone would love to live in this environment, but we don't have to live in survival mode anymore, really. Most of the population, obviously I'm not talking for everyone, because I know there's going to be one person out there that's going to lean on this and just be like, I'll try and tell this to this person. I'm talking to the majority. The majority of people have a job or a business, they have a roof over their head, and they're able to put food on their table. So these things that if you turned around and went to like Africa and asked a lion about it, you probably want to get a great conversation, but they have to go out and fight and hunt and get prey and ward off enemies and fight and all this kind of, they have to do all those sorts of things. And I guess in our society it's not really like that. You can treat the environment like it. It will give you a psychological edge if you feel like you have to really grit your teeth and drive forward. That's I think it's a quality that a lot of entrepreneurs have, to be able to have that grit and determination, to be up at 1 o'clock in the morning doing business plans and sending out more pitches or working harder than everyone else. There is a concept of that. There is that survival instinct, but there's also a lot of people that don't have that because our environment's not like that anymore. It's just not. And that's just me being, that's my own personal opinion about it. A lot of people could disagree with that, and that's totally fine. It's just the way that I've seen it myself. And that's why when people get in their own way, it's a little bit disheartening, because I'm kind of like, if you were able to sort out the thing between your ears, you would have a lot more success in a very short period of time. And I've had this myself when Emergently wasn't doing very well, and I was thinking of essentially just closing the business and just letting it die. I'd made too many mistakes. I had essentially crippled my own company, and I just wanted to give up. I sat there for far too long with my head in the sand, just thinking it would all go away, and it didn't. Because I'm the only person in that fucking business. So the only person who was going to pull it out of that sort of state was going to be me. So I had to have that really real and open and honest conversation with myself of like, what are you going to do then? Like, you can't just sit here. You can't do nothing. And then I gave myself an ultimatum. I basically said, you're going to work as hard as possible until the end of that physical tax year, and if you were not in a better place, you get rid of the company. I think I gave myself an 8. No, not an 8. I've kind of made that decision in like January 2021, so that would have been about 10 months, 10, 11 months. And I achieved all of it and did a new launch by the August, so I did it in 8 months. But that was like a pretty harsh conversation to have with myself, of basically, it's called the ostrich effect. You know, you just put your head into the ground and you just act like it didn't happen. It was quite humbling to like pull myself out of that and kind of give myself my own like internal shake and just be like, you need to sort this out or you're just going to give up. So at the moment you're just giving up, so why don't you try and see if you can make it? So we did, and it went really well. You know, I can't, I'm not going to sit around and be like, it didn't go well. Here we are, like 5 years after that incident. But imposter syndrome is an absolute killer. It ruins businesses. It ruins people. It's like, take away the business side, it absolutely destroys people. If someone doesn't think that they're good enough, that's a hard pill to swallow in any aspect of your life. So it's quite, for me in an essence, sometimes I find it quite relieving when someone thinks that the biggest bottleneck is themselves. Because if the biggest bottleneck is themselves, there's a very distinct way of dealing with that as a person who consults. Your experience and your skills will come heavily into play because you will need to rebuild their entire system around it to be able to make them function correctly. But then you have a second job to do. And the second job is to influence that person as positively as you can. Now, I'm not a motivational speaker, but I'm a pretty freaking good hype woman. And there's been times where I've had a few clients where they just felt like they were failing and nothing was working and it was all their fault. And I've kept at them and just kind of said, just trust the process. Wake up every morning, give yourself a little pep talk, get it done, no excuses, head down, trust it. And then it might not happen in days, but then a few weeks later, I've had quite a few clients, which is lovely, quite a few clients turn around and just be like, thank you. Like, what you did physically saved me. Because they actually started to believe in themselves, and that's a fantastic place to be. So a lack of confidence in who you are and what you can do, and then also on top of that, the imposter syndrome that, you know, you're talking yourself physically out of it, will ruin you. So a tip I would give is pep talks. I know they sound really gay, but they work. I'm not saying that you need to go and scream affirmations at yourself in the mirror, but they do work. They really do work. So if you took anything from this, if you want to know any more, just pop it in the comments. I'll get back to it. While you're down there, little subscribe button, click on that. Like it, share it, do all those things. And I shall see you in the next one.